What is good, you guys? Welcome back to part two. Actually, we're going to get into it. We're actually going to dive more in depth on what we've covered in my last video about what I've learned that really helped me shift when I understood that. So if you have not watched that video, you need to go watch that video before you watch this video, because it will definitely help you understand this context so much more. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Autumn, and I'm here to help you assume the position on who it is you want to be by realizing that you are the only thinker in your reality, and that you can be, do, and have whatever it is that you want to be here and now, not tomorrow, here and now. All right. So today, you guys, as we covered in my last video, we talked about realizing that you are source, and I hope that I definitely broke it down in a way that you really truly understood. So in today's video, we want to go more in depth. It is a little bit more on the philosophical side. It is a little bit more, it tips a little on non-duality, and it tips a little bit on just everything that we've learned. It's very esoteric, but I promise you, if you make it through this video, you're going to understand what we're saying and what it means to truly be and assume the position of who it is that you want to be. So I've been listening to Neville Goddard's videos, which I am definitely going to link one of the videos here. In one of his lectures, which is turning out to be my favorite lecture, is called The Art of Dying. And it did seem kind of morbid the first time I read it, and this was years ago, but really listening to the lecture in his voice recently has made me truly realize what it truly means to die to oneself and die to the old version of you in order to be reborn as the version and the identity of it is that you truly want to be. So in his lecture, I will link it above. But when I made that $10,000 in one day, and actually 4 hours, I will link that video here. This lecture truly describes what it was for me to make that radical shift in a timeline shift that really brought forth my manifestation in an instant, pretty much. So when we talk about the art of dying, in his lecture, there was a few key things that pointed out to me that I'm going to cover here in this video. So I will put the words up on the screen for you guys as we go through this lecture. One quote that I really love that he said in this lecture was, "It will take such a long time in dying. Man does not outgrow his state of ill health or his old job or his environment. We must learn the art of dying. And this week is the great death, and we are told that God dies that many man can live." So this is so true, because when he said that people take a long time to die, how many of us actually see people, or whether it's co-workers or people in our everyday life, our parents, you know, this is where we picked up a lot of those behaviors ourselves. When we see people in jobs for 40, 50, 60 years, and they're kind of bitter, and they really feel no hope, and they feel like they've lived a life that just kind of got stale and stagnant, and then it just they're struggling in all different type of circumstances. This is what Neville means when he says that people take a long time to die. So this is also indicative of what I was saying in my last presentation of being the seeker, seeking but never finding, because you refuse to die to the old version of yourself. Specifically when it comes to, let's say, like we talked about for the SP in the last video, you who you are right now, as in the reality that you are right now, that version of you is not going to understand that they really can't see the fruition of actually being with the person that they want to be with. They can't fathom or compute the success as long as they are operating from that point of view. But it is the refusal to die to that old version of themselves and to really assume a new position, which is what causes the stagnation at some point in time and the feeling of going against the grain. So when we are learning about dying to ourselves, there's so many scriptures that says it, that Paul says it when he says, "I die daily." That was a really good one, but there's so many scriptures. And when I was telling you guys of this revelation that that old version of me was never going to get it, there was so many scriptures that came to mind, and so many of Neville's quotes that came to mind, and this whole lecture that came to mind, which is why I really had to sit down and listen to it in his in his voice. There's another quote that says, "I will let you see the land, but you cannot go into it." And then Moses dies. So the present state cannot be carried into the new. It has to die as a consequence of the new made alive. It is true that the new version of yourself can only be resurrected, and these are concepts, or the Bible is just a story made up of man for you to come into your Christ consciousness, your awareness, as we've been talking about, for you to truly know yourself through your experience of who it is that you are being. So you know who you are, and you really understand the power of awareness, or the power of God within you, when you really assume that position and you see your life being completely being made brand new by you being that new person. So you cannot see your SP being the person that you want them to be. You cannot see the finances that you want to see. You cannot see whatever it is, the clients, the success, until you die to that old version of yourself, of that person that does not have it. And then you take up the new person, the new man. This is what they mean when they say, put off the former man and put off the old conversations of the former. This is what it means when you stop thinking from that old point of view, stop acting from that old point of view, and you are assuming and really being convicted into the new position of the person who it is that you want to be. This is when you really start to see the changes in the world conforming to you. Because think about it, if you are the only thinker, and your assumptions about yourself and who you are being in your reality is going to be what you experience. So the people that's showing up in your life, the boss that is like bothering you, or the money that's not coming in, or the person that is showing you the opposite of what you want them to show you, they can only mirror the state that you are in. So it's not that they are mirroring to you versions of themselves. They are mirroring the version of yourself or the state you're in. So when situations become dire in your life, it is because you have not recognized that this state is really trying to push you out, to move you out. It's the person is being meaner and meaner because it's trying to kick you off of that timeline. The money is running low and low and low and low because it's trying to get you to see like, hey, I need to die to this state and pick up the new man, pick up the new conversation, pick up the new thoughts. And two, so I can assume the position of being the person who is already abundant now. This is why we say manifestation is instant when you assume a new position, when you go into a new room. Like Neville says, he's in Barbados and he does not think about the state of where he is in now, that his thoughts are consumed of him being in Barbados or having what it is that he wanted to have in his human imagination, which is God. Isaiah 43:18 and 19 says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and the rivers in the desert." So to move to that new person, the new version, the new version of you who is already with that SP, already has the money, already has the success, you have to see that where you are now, by you finally having that awareness of realizing that, hey, this is not what I want. This is what that scripture means. Like, hey, do you perceive it now that I am working on doing a new thing in you? It's springing forth. Do you see it? It's awareness waiting on you to recognize awareness. And so God is revealing itself to you, in you, and through you. So you have that awareness, and to come back to be able to come back to be in union with Christ's consciousness, realizing that you are one with the all. The Bible says, "It is when I am most aware of my restrictions and feel the pressures, then is when I must learn to die. I must learn to let go of what my senses dictate and go mad and yield to what is only a dream. But sustaining it and living in it, I die to what was physically real as I gradually lift up what was only a dream." this is you using your imagination to see yourself in the relationship already with the SP, as if you guys have already been in the relationship. So that means that when you have gotten back in contact with them, that is your past. And so now your present is you are in the relationship with the person. So you must go mad instead of thinking of what is or what your senses tell you. Your senses tell you that you have a negative bank account. No, it doesn't. Only in my reality, I'm only consciously aware of being abundant, of being a millionaire, of being successful. This is all that I see no matter what's going on. So this is why when you become one with consciousness and recognize and be crucified with Christ consciousness, then you start to operate from inside, from in here instead of out here. Now you are no longer dictated by the 3D circumstances. You're only dictated and moved through you being connected to Christ. And then you realize that this is why you don't lift a finger, because it is now consciousness and Christ consciousness moving through you and showing up as you in your reality. I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. So crucified means binding yourself to consciousness, binding yourself to the awareness that you are one with the all and you are one with consciousness. And Christ itself is the living consciousness within you. So the living awareness within you. And when you take on this appearance and take on the knowing that you are the Christ consciousness, that you are pure awareness, it is easy to live from within and to go from within. And it's easier to actually even imagine yourself imagining as God instead of imagining yourself as Autumn. Because then at that point you understand that it is God experiencing itself through you. So it is not you, little you, whoever you are. It is not me, the little Autumn who is trying to figure out things. It is up to me to become one with consciousness. The Father and I are one, but the Father is greater than me. Greater is he who is in me, who is in the world. So greater is the consciousness that is within me than the me, the little me and my problems, who is in the world. So when I connect myself up to the source or the vortex or the highest point, the knowing that I am all things, then that's what makes manifestation so instant, you guys. Living from that awareness instead of living from just the me down here who has to figure everything out. I live with the knowing within me, so I can talk to myself. I can see within myself my reality, and that's the only reality I'm paying attention to. So it is the focus on you. And when you really think about it, this is why Bashar says you never leave heaven. Nirvana, heaven, you never leave it. You never leave the center. You never leave the center of your reality when you're one with God, which is why God moves through you and moves you to whatever way. This is why you don't realize that you're on the bridge of incidents. This is why you can only connect the dots going backwards, but never forwards, all right? The seeker, who is the one who is always looking to connect the dots from looking forward. But the one with the awareness knows it all and just sits there. And then when they are realizing that their world has conformed, only then they realize that they can connect the dots looking back. You can see like how that happened, but you're not going to be able to see. You have to be before it shows up. So you cannot live in the new state until you yield to that state completely, giving over of yourself, sacrificing yourself, your thoughts, sacrificing old thoughts. You have to, that part of you has to die off completely for you to realize and have that realization that you are now pure consciousness, pure awareness. You cannot live in the state. You will only see it, and you could only like see through it and see it far off from you, but you will not live and dwell in that state until the old you, the old thoughts leave. All right, you must be completely immersed in your imagination and see yourself as how you want it to be. See things in your life how you want them to be. Because when you become aware that it is God doing it within you, that it is not you, then there's no need to fear any circumstances that are going on, because now you know that they all serve you, and you can see the circumstance for what you want it to be. You can see the circumstance how you want it to be. You can see the circumstance now as realizing that this was only meant for your awareness, for you to be aware of the conscious state that you were in. And so now you can recognize that, and now you can choose the new state again. So dying to yourself is needed, you guys. You have to let go of the old. You have to let go of the old person completely. You have to let go of the old stories about your SP. You have to let go of any like thoughts of grudges or thoughts of anything towards anyone, because you realize that it was you. It was within you, reflecting back to you the state that you were in. And so you just choose again and never bring up that old state. It is abandoning that state completely, you guys. All right? So you guys, I'm actually going to leave this video here. We may have more discussions on this. I do have a few more videos in mind that I want to make around this subject. So make sure that you subscribe for that, and like, and get down in the comments and let me know how much this helped you. I will be linking Nevilles' video for you guys to watch it, because I really do feel like everyone needs to really like watch that and listen to that, because I'm telling you, like, it changed my life and it deepened my perspective and deepened my awareness. All right, so once again, you guys, remember, imagination is on your side. Don't forget, coaching is available. Coaching is available. It is in the description box below. Coaching is affordable with me because I just want you guys to get what it is that you need. And plus, you guys, don't forget my free digital products in my store as well. And once again, like I said, imagination is always on your side, and I am too. Bye.